Oh hey, what are you guys doing in there? I'm just going into the freezer to get some items to see what I can cook with these gnocchis today. Huh. I got some peas. I got some ham. I think I'm all set. With what I found in the freezer, this is the dish that I came up with. It's a Tasso ham gnocchi. Tasso ham is a spicy Cajun ham that I made and froze previously. With the peas and the cheese, it should be a good combination to make a pretty tasty dish. To begin, we need our gnocchi, our peas, our Tasso ham, our cheese. This is Tolman cheese from Jasper Hill Farms. A little bit of oil, some butter, salt, and sherry vinegar to season. We begin by cutting the ham. Notice the grip I have on the knife. I'm using a Gnocchi knife here, which is typically a vegetable knife, but it's one of my favorite ones, so I use it anyways. And we'll just cube this up into small cubes and get that set to the side. Now, to cook everything, this is the equipment that we'll need. Now to start, we turn on our heat onto high. We place our saute pan on the hot heat to let that warm up. To the pan, we're going to add some of our olive oil. Put about a tablespoon in there. When that starts to get hot, we'll add in our diced ham. Make sure you get every little last bit, and you'll start to hear it. As it's cooking, you want to keep it moving around. If it sticks to the pan, you'll start to burn some of those spices that are on the outside of this ham. And here we can see some of that ham fat rendering out and some of that spices getting into that fat. Now if you were using sausage, similar things would happen. You'd want to move it around and let that fat render out. And if you don't have this type of ham, you can use sausage as I mentioned, or a different type of ham. You can really use whatever you like, ground beef, ground chicken, whatever you can find. We add our peas to it. I added them frozen, and the reason for that is actually it cools the pan down, helping the oil to lower its temperature, preventing burning. Just stir that up, make sure it doesn't stick, or give it a toss. So if you notice on my left side there, I have my pot of water already boiling. I've salted it already, and as the Italians make it, they say to make it as salty as the sea. So here I am adding the gnocchi to that and letting that come to a boil. Now these gnocchis will need a little bit of a stir just to make sure they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. And as that comes back up to heat, you'll see a boil. And again, we don't want to burn our ham and peas, so just give them a little shake. And we'll wait for our gnocchis to finish cooking. And always remember, you can turn your heat down. Everything doesn't have to be on full blast. So as you can see, our gnocchis are starting to float to the top. This means they're almost done. As they start to float to the top, you'll start to see that as they gather up there, that's when we'll start to scoop them out of the water. When we scoop them out of the water, we actually want to transfer some of that cooking liquid over into our pan with the ham and the peas. This will actually help form some of our sauce and our glacé that we have. So as you can see, I slightly strain it just a little bit, but still bring over some of that water as we go along. Give it a little shake to prevent them from sticking while you're still scooping out the other gnocchis. And all of that fat that rendered out of that ham is coating those gnocchis, and all those spices are getting all over that as well. That water combines with that fat, making a glacé. And what we'll do is we'll add more butter to the dish to help that glacé along. So we'll throw in a knob of butter. There is too much butter can be added, but again, if you have too much butter, you can add a little bit of water to kind of make that sauce come back. You want about equal parts of liquid fat content. We'll season it with salt, and we'll make sure to taste it. You'll want to adjust your gnocchis with sherry vinegar if you find that it's too rich. The acid will help cut the fat that's in it, especially with the addition of the butter. And once we have it all cooked, we're ready to plate. So we get our plate ready, and we take our gnocchis, and we start to put them into the dish. Now if you watch, the way I'm holding the spoon, you want to hold it more like a pencil. The first couple of scoops there I had my finger out. If you hold it like a pencil, you'll have a little bit better control of where you're putting the food. So we scoop a nice big portion on there, and we take our cheese, and we're going to use our peeler, and we're just going to peel that cheese right on top and let the heat from the gnocchis melt it just ever so slightly. Tolman cheese is similar to a cheddar, and I would have preferred a Parmesan cheese, but I didn't have any, so it was quite okay to use this cheese. Now let's review the steps of how to make this dish. The first step is to render out the ham, which is to cook the fat out of the ham. The next is to add peas, and those peas can be added frozen or defrosted. While those peas and ham are cooking, make sure to add the gnocchi to the boiling water and cook them until they float. Once they float, add them to the pan. After the gnocchis are added to the pan, add in a knob of butter and season with salt, and make sure you taste. If you like a little bit more acid in your dish, add a splash of sherry vinegar. Once the dish is seasoned to your liking, get ready to plate. This is a list of the items that I used with approximate amounts. When you make this dish, you can use as little or as much of an ingredient as you want. If you like more ham, put more ham in. If you like more peas, put more peas in. I didn't label the cheese mainly because I just shaved off a couple of pieces. But again, this is your dish and you can make it how you want it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just going to put these away now. Anyways, if you ever want to make this, you can use whatever you want. If you don't have ham or peas, that's quite okay. You can use any type of sausage, you could use any vegetable. If you have asparagus, use that. If you have corn, use that. You can make it up as you go along. Just remember to have fun and enjoy yourself. See you later, guys.